Yeah, that sounds good. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. The water. Glasses.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatuh. Laha ban Yashka ban Yashua.
Laha ban Yashka ban Yashua.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatuh.
Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatuh.
La Yashua.
Slide everyone, Shema Babusha, class has started. Shema.
Amaju. Kepada Kodom.
Amadium.
Amaju. Kepada Kodom. Turn to face the east. The Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer, first in the Hebrew. Abanahu, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Balakvaka, Aba'ah, Batizayka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratisa, Hayah, Hashemayim, Nananahu, the come, power, the one. Wasalak now. Kabawaf now. Kasalak now. Kabawaf now. Wala'ah. Kabayai now. Manasaya one. Abor. Hawashaya now. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Lakab. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Kapara. Al-Walamya.
Amen. English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Hata. First in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Hashem. Yahweh Shah. Babakashah. Nathunanahu. Hakak. Lava. Kalmakal. Makal. Marawa. Hakak. Natahal. Ahmed Azariah. Hakak. Hakiyah. Hamakiyah. Hakak. Awakawa. Atama'ala. Darasham. Hashem. Yahushua.
Amen. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it.
Psalms 121. Asha. Ayanya. Hara'ayam. Mahayan. Yaba'a. Asura. Isaiah. Ma'ayim. Yahweh. Aisha. Shemayim. Wa'aratiza. Kathan. Namawat. Galaka. Yanawam. Shamarka. Hana. Yanayam. Wala'a. Yayashon. Shamor. Yashua. Yahweh. Shamarka. Yahweh. Tazalka. Alyad. Yamnyanka. Yawam. Hashamam. La'a. Yaka'a. Wayarak. Wala'arum. Yahweh. Yashamarka. Makah. Ra. Yashamari. Artha. Napaska. Yahweh. Yashamar. Taza'alka. Wabayat. Ma'atha. Ya'ai. Awalim.
I will lift up my hands, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not stumble. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So be it.
Psalms 83. Alahayam. Tamaya. Laka. Lakara. Wa'aya. Tasukwa. Kaya. Hana. Hawabyaka. Wahama. Yawan. Ra'ah. Ra'ayam.
Just repeat after me. Alahayam. Al-Damaya Laka. Al-Thacharash. Wa-Al-Thashikwat. Al-Kaya. Hana. Awayakika. Yahama Yawan. Wa-Mashanayaka. Nasha'awa. Ra'ash. Al-Alimaka. Ya'irayamwa. Sawad. Ayatayai Tazawad. Al-Tazapawanyaka. Amawa. Lakawa. Walakakidam. Magaya. Wala'a. Nazakar. Shamya Sha'ala. Aiwad. Kaya. Nama'ai Tazawad. Lab. Yagadwa. Ayaka. Kwaya. Yagaratwa. Ahaya. Adawam. Wayashama'aliyam. Mababa. Wahagariam. Kebal. Wa'aima one. Wa'aima lak. Hadashah. I'm Yashabya. Tazawar. Wam Ashawar. Nanawa. Imam. Hayawa. Zarawai. Labanya Lawat. Salah. Aishalaham, Kamadyan, Kasayasara'a, Kayabyan, Pamachal, Payashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayan, Da'ara, Hayawa, Daman, Ladama, Shayatambwa, Nada Yamwa, Ka'ara, Wakaza Aba, Wakaza Bach, Wakata Zalmanai, Kal, Nasaya Gamwa, Asha, Amawa, Naya Rasha, Lanawa, Ah, Nawa, Amawa, Naya Rasha, Lanawa, Ah, Nawa, Alahayam, Alahaya, Shayathumwa, Kagalgala, Kapash, Lapanyaraha, Kaash, Taba Ira, Yaira, Wakalahaba, Alahat, Aryan, Kan, Laradakma, Basa Iriga, Wabasamapatka, Labahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Palawan, Wabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabahalwa, Ai, Wayakapawa, Wayabagwa, Wayadaiwa, Kaya, Ata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labaka, Ayawan, Al, Kal, Ha'arataza. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the hand. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, the Baal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot. Salah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb. Yea, all their princes, as Abba and as Almuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession. Oh, my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. So be it.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Mayakal.
Wa Mayakal.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matasaba'a.
Matazam Yaha.
Alawak Yahana.
Alawak Yahana.
Ha Alawak.
Ha Alawak Yahana.
Ha Surrender.
Ha Surrender.
Akwatazanyam.
Ha Batazayanyam.
Akwayayim.
Ha Khayayayam.
Wa Akwapiyam.
Wa Ha Agwatim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Wa Shib.
Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
The one.
Amen. Amen. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels. Commanding General Yohanan.
Commanding General
The
Yohanan.
generals.
General.
The captains.
Captain.
The officers.
Officer.
The troopers.
Trooper.
And assistants.
And assistant.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
All things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
And evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
Punishment and
To
destruction.
the heathen.
To the
That speak against us.
speak against us.
Thy prophets.
Prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
princes,
The priests.
priests,
The Israelite brothers.
Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
And evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the treasures
Set loose the treasure
of the rich of
of
Israel
the rich of Israel.
that refuse to give to the school.
Refuse to get to the school.
Force their riches
Force their riches.
to enter into thy sanctuary. Send evils and curses
Evils and curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and
to
destruction.
the Edomites
To the Edomites.
and the nations, the drug dealers, the court system,
Court system.
the prison system,
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood.
all the governments of our enemies,
All the governments are enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies,
And the synagogues and armies.
the Roman Catholic Church,
The Roman Catholic Church.
the Pope,
The Pope.
it's like Islam,
Islam.
Christianity,
Christianity.
Egyptology,
Egyptology.
militia,
Militia.
Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation.
skinheads, Posse Comitatus, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies,
Spies.
workers of witchcraft,
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA space program,
NASA space program.
Army,
Army.
Navy,
Navy.
Air Force,
Air Force.
Marines,
Marine.
Wall Street,
Wall Street.
open up the internet
Open up the internet.
and the airways,
And the airways.
the cable access channels,
Cable access channel.
and the radio channels.
And the radio channel.
Convict the spirit
With the spirit
of any of thy people
of any of thy people
that seek to stop
that
us
seek to stop us.
and bring swift death
Bring swift death.
to all the heathen
All the heathen
that stand in the way
that stand in the way.
or try to stop us
Try to stop us.
from broadcasting your words
Broadcasting your word.
throughout the planet Earth.
Throughout planet Earth.
Let loose all the plagues,
And with all the plague.
cause them to go to and fro
Cause them to go to and
through
fro.
the earth
The earth.
and consume them.
And consume them.
Let the plagues
And the plague.
shake the house of the thief
Take the house of the thief.
and the murderer.
And murder.
Let Yahweh Shai,
Take the house of
Michael,
Michael.
and Gabriel
Gabriel.
come down with the flying saucers
Come down with the flying saucers.
and punish all the heathens
Punish all the heathen
that come up against us
that come up against us.
as we speak thy word.
And we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all
Cause it to be known by all
that it is the angels
that it is an angel
that have done it.
that have done it.
Cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
throughout the earth,
throughout the earth.
throughout the media,
Throughout the media.
throughout the whole world.
Throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause it to shake
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
and
Thank you always.
Lord.
So be it.
So be it.
Sir, you may be seated.
We'll start off reading Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, from the first verse all the way to the 7th verse in the Hebrew.
The water, appreciate it. Listen.
For your word, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, Lamor, the board, Al, Banyan, Yasharala, Wa'amor, Alham, Mawa'ai, Yahweh, Ashur, Takurat, Amat, Leviticus 23:1. Wayadabar, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, Lamar, the board, verse 2, the board, Al, Banyan, Yasharala, Wa'amarat, Alham, Wa'ayah, Yahweh, Omar, Takurat, Atham, Makuraya, Kodash, Allah, Thumb, our idol. Shashad, Young, Taishad, Malakah, Wogoyulam, Hashba'aya, Shabbat, Mashawah, Kodash, Kal, Malahaka, La'ah, Taishad, Shabbat, Hawa, Yahweh, La Yahweh, Makal, Mashwat, verse 4, Allah, Allah, Idol, Yahweh, Kodash, Ashore, Sakuraya, a thumb, our eye,
Yeah, I'm preaching on churches.
Bakadash, Hara'ah, show, Hara'asha, Baba Abdi, Hara'ayah, Aishar, Kadash, Banyam, Ka'ai, Hara'ayah, Asad, Yahweh, verse 6. Wabak Hamasha, Aishar, Yawam, Lakadash, Hazar, Kad, Hamasazar, Wat, La Yahweh, Shabbai, Yum, Matada, Wat, verse 7. One, Ashwa, Makurak, Kodash, Yahweh, the one. Kal, Mala'ah, Mala'ah, Malakat, I Ibada, La'ah, Daisha, sorry, Daisha. Amen. Leviticus 23:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, an holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons, in the 14th day of the first month. At even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have unholy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
Imagine.
Ashkawar, present thyself and thy register.
Ashkawar, Banyashikar, Banyasharala.
Ashkawar, Banyashikar, Banyashar.
Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakathum.
Going to read from 8 to 14 in the Hebrew, then in the English.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 8. Waha koraba thum ashar la Yahweh shaba'aifa yamayum it's like Bahawon Hashabaya Aya Makora'a Kodash Kal Mala Kaf Mala'aka Ibadaha La'a Ta'aishawa. Verse 9. Waya Debor, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, La'amor, verse 10. Quabor, Al, Debor, Al, Banam, Banya, Yashar Allah, Amartha, Amara, Alahayim, Kaya, Taba'awa, Al, Ha'aratazar, Anaya, Ashore, Ha'aratazar, Ashore, Anya, Nathan, Lakom, Wakwatazar Thum, Quatazar Ra, Wahabathum, Shamor, Imor, Ra'ashata, Ra'ashya, Quatazarakum, Al, Hakayun, Hakahun. Verse 11. Wahanaya, Ha'amar, Lapanya, Yahweh, Laratazah Nakam, Laratazah Nakam, Mama Karat, Hashabah, Yanya Pun, Yan Hawa, Hakahan, verse 12. Wa'aisha Yathon, by your womb. Hanya Pakam, Ha'imor, Kabash, Thamayum, Bun, Shanathawa, La'alia, La Yahweh. Verse 13. Woman Kathawa, Shania, Shanya, Ishar Nayum, Salatha, Balawaka, Bashaman, Asha, La Yahweh, Rayak, Nayatak, Wanasaka, Yayun, Rabaya I, Hahayun, Ha-Kahan. Verse 14. Walakon, Wakolaya, Wakarum, the out. Book of Leviticus chapter 23, verse 14. Walakam, Wakolaya, Wakaramala, La'a, Ta'akawa, Itazam, Hayawam, Ha'aya, Hazaha, Habaya Akon, Qarun, Alahayakum, Kakwa, Awalum, Ladarath Yakum, Ladarath Yakum, Wakal, Mashabath Yakum, verse 15. Wasaparthum, Lakum, Mum Karath, Mashabath Yakum. Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the 7 days is in the holy convocation, ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 9. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I gave unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priests. Verse 11, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Verse 12, and ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. Verse 13, and the meat offering thereof shall be 2 tenth deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of a hin. Verse 14, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Verse 15, and ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete.
Let's back up and taste, all right, to break that one down. Get his other hand again, all right? This one, right, I'll use this one. Where should you start up? Right now, we're in the law where we're going to break down the Passover. Of course, that's why we're all here this weekend. Give yourselves a hand for what you have to go through to get down there. All through the Bible and all through the law, you hear about making this sacrifice, making that sacrifice, for every high holy thing, for everything that the Most High has done for us. He wants to take something from us. And that's important to remember, because although now we don't sacrifice lambs and goats after the ultimate sacrifice of our King, Yahushua Christ, everything in life that you want requires sacrifice. Everything. And being willing to make that sacrifice makes you acceptable before the Most High God. It's the way that you earn the blessing that He wants to give you. And I know most of you, if not all of you, man, just to be here, forget about it. It was a tremendous sacrifice on all of your parts. Forget about those sisters making that prayer. Where are you at right now? Raise your hands. Stand up. These girls are the sacrifice. They made the sacrifice. Where the brothers out there were working in that kitchen, you didn't know who in the hell they were. Stand up if you worked in the kitchen yesterday, man. You celebrate. You know what? The brothers are serving the food. The brothers are serving the food, man. You made such a sacrifice. And once again, we don't live in the letter of the law, because when people try to live in the letter of the law, they break the law because they don't understand the law. But we understand the spirit of the law. And everything requires sacrifice. We're going to read about the Passover right now. Next is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What do you think now? Next is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I'll break that whole thing down for you as well, all right? And then we'll continue with the 7 brothers. This is the Sabbath service. This is extremely traditional and extremely old. And the whole purpose is to have a high priest, a senior priest, and a young priest. It's to make sure that the Hebrew language gets passed on throughout the generations. And so we always have whoever the youngest person is in the room, you want them to come up to make sure that they know Hebrew. And as they get older, they become the senior priest or the head priest, and it continues to go on and on and on, so that we never lose our language, no matter how long we've been in captivity. All right? Everybody get it. I want to break down the Passover in the watch. Everybody knows Captain Isupk. Give him a hand right here. He's walking out. He's the captain of the Puerto Rican school of Puerto Rico. Say again? Say again? Dominican Republic, don't forget that. Come on. You can have the phone. The damn right. Honduras, get Honduras. Okay. That's good. Okay, let's get it on. All right, ready?
The book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the seventh day is the day. In the seventh day is in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 9.
A holy convocation means a true gathering. It's a Sabbath, right? And that's what we're getting. Like this one today we're in. This is the first, right? This is the Feast of Unleavened Bread or the Passover. Take me up to the Passover, all right? So we need to start from the beginning. Go ahead.
To the Sabbath.
Passover.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Verse 5. And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
That's where we're at right now. That was yesterday. That was the Most High's Passover yesterday. It's something that Israel has always kept. To even know the date is an extremely complicated process, which Commander General Yohanan and General Mayak work out. Give them a hand. Then they would have farmers almanac. Then they would have farmers almanac. What is it called? Farmers almanac. They sit in there with that thing every damn year, like in a think tank, making sure that the Passover is absolutely correct. And our Passover is absolutely correct.
Right.
It is on the exact date the Most High commanded that it is to be on every year. Of course, the so-called white man who calls himself a Jew, his date is incorrect, and the Israelites forget about it. All right, more than likely they're just doing whatever date, the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew does. All right, but of course we go through the work to find the correct date. The 14th day of the first month, go.
Verse 6, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
Now here we go. Now that's what you're in right now. For those of you that called me all damn day today, I'll explain this to you. Okay, last night, right? When the sun went down last night, you had to get all of the leaven out of your home. All right? You couldn't have any leaven in your home. What is leaven? Leaven is, in essence, moldy old bread or flour in water that has taken on bacteria from the sky, and now because of that, it can raise flour. It can breathe. It's like an organism, right? And you can make it just with flour and water, and you sit it there for 7 days, and you'll see it bubble. That's leaven. It's called yeast today if you buy it from the store, but you can make it yourself, and it's called sourdough. It's the exact same thing. Now, a long time ago, that was the only way to raise bread, is to make your own leaven and then to put it in your flour and water to make your bread light. Without leaven, bread is hard and not delicious. You understand? But so for years, since God knows how long, people have been putting leaven in bread, leaven in flour and water to make the bread light and airy and delicious. Now on Passover night, the Most High told Moses that we were going to have to leave Egypt in a haste. Why? Because the Most High planned to kill the firstborn of every Egyptian. And he knew that once their children were dead, they were going to be very angry and they were going to kick us out of Egypt. So because of that, we didn't have time to put the yeast in our bread and to knead it and to give it the time that it would take to rise. Also, we had to pack up so fast that our kneading troughs, a kneading trough is like the Issacharites have something that's called a mokahete. Damn, you know, I'm sure. Give him a hand. The warrior, you follow this trough. You see, he looks like an ice cold killer. You see what I'm doing? What's the name of it again?
Multi-hit.
Multi-hectare. What is it? Describe it.
Like I don't know what it's made of. It's made out of some type of stone. I think what's the thing to make the ladder thing out of? The adamant flintstone.
Yeah.
Made from flintstone, and we use it basically to make a sauce, like a chip sauce.
And they great. So, you're right. And so imagine a trough. It's like a shape. So you can do this. Right? Now those things were packed away because we had to pack and get the hell out of Egypt, because when they went in that child's room and he was dead, they were going to be very angry. So those things were packed away. So there was no way to leaven bread, wait the 16 hours or whatever it takes, 10 hours for it to knead, and then knead it and then wait the hours that it takes for it to rise. The kneading troughs were packed away. You can pull that for a match if you don't mind. The kneading troughs were packed away, and we had to go. So because of that, the food that we had to eat on the road, when we were out in the wilderness, all we had to eat was this flat bread that it was not light, it was not airy like that good Wonder bread you used to in the ghetto. What are the good ghetto breads that black people and Hispanics eat now?
The bimbo slice.
Say again?
The bimbo slice.
Bimbo, they got good breads in that market now. Well, I mean, that's all we had. Yeah, I see the bread section as a damn of heaven in there. Well, this is all we had, because our kneading troughs were packed away and we had to leave so quickly, and so this is all we had. Everybody understands, right? So we remember it every year because it keeps us hard,
Right.
keeps us strong, because the Most High God blessed us with such a great blessing as freedom from oppression. But to get that freedom, we had to eat this. This is what we had to eat. This is all we had. And it's an important lesson that you should never learn. Everyone wants to be blessed, but no one wants to go through the pain that it takes to be blessed.
Right.
The suffering that it takes to be blessed. The sacrifice that must be made to be blessed. Well, the Most High commanded that every year, no matter what, you're going to remember when to get out of Egypt, you have to go so fast, you have to pack so fast, and this is all you had. And so we do it every year to never forget. Everyone understands.
Verse 8.
Yes, please, read what you usually read.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, verse 2, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Verse 3, speak ye unto the congregation of Israel, saying,
before you go on, that's important too. That for you is so important. For you, because you're going to be in captivity after captivity. And they'll tell you that there's a different first month of the year. Just like we do right now in the earth while our oppressor, the so-called white man, rules the earth. From the time of Julius Caesar, he's been deciding that the new year is in winter. But this is the first month for you. Everyone understands? Go ahead.
In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. Verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to him, so next unto his house, take it according to the number of the souls.
So now, just so I can explain, so imagine way in the beginning, right? You take a lamb enough, that's big enough to feed the people in your house, right? And if the lamb is too big, too big for you, then you bring other people in to eat that lamb. So you get a lamb for a house, but if it's too big, and maybe you're in there with just you and your wife. So then you go and get the people next door and the people down the street, and you come together to finish that lamb. You bring as many people as you have to together to finish the lamb that you killed. Why? Because this is a meal that we have to eat fast and in one night, which is the spirit behind the celebration of the Passover. The spirit is that this is a quick meal. This is fast because our enemies are paying tonight for what they did. They're all going to pay. And they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it. They're going to cry. They're going to know what it's like to lose a child. That's right. Now they'll know. Now we will be equal. Right? Now we'll be equal. Well, that night, we were equals that night. I appreciate you. I just toss that in there. We were equal, so because of that, we had to hurry up. We had to move fast. So you kill the lamb. If there's only 2 of you in the house, 3 of you get the people next door. Share the lamb. Now look at us now. Now all of us piled into this house. All of us, we all came together to share this meal. And it started so long ago with just one family, another family, and another family. Continue.
Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Verse 5.
Okay.
Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. Verse 6.
Once again, you're taking a good lamb. Give me that. Where's the brothers at who cook the lamb? They every night. The Karamaya and Tazabah, they had to go out and pick delicious lambs. Give them a hand. Delicious lamb. Captain the car at the start of the lamb. Give him a hand. Where's he at? He's not here yet. Captain the fun. Who's the big brother? Shamgar. Officer Shamgar, he's in here tonight. He's not here alone. That person. Listen, they went over to the lamb slaughter, brother. They went over to the lamb slaughter. They're picking out the best lambs. And they saw a bull, and they wanted to kill that bull and eat that bull. Officer Shamgar and Captain LeVon, and they went and wrestled that damn bull. Right. Grabbed him by the damn head. And all kinds of life to rob. I don't know who won. You gotta ask them that. I don't know. But they stepped in to do it. Well, that's the old process. You're finding the lambs, the best lambs. You want the good ones, the delicious ones, and you're going to take them and sacrifice them. Everybody understands. Keep going. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month.
So you get the lamb on the first day and you keep it, meaning you feed it. You take it and you keep it for 2 weeks. You fatten the thing up, making sure he's good and fat. On the 14th day, that's when you're going to cut his throat and eat it. Go ahead.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
You get that.
Verse 7. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts.
That's somewhere around here. They shall take the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts, meaning at the same time, every house is cutting the throat of a lamb all at once. They have a lamb they got on the first day. They took him to their farm or their backyard or wherever the hell they keep a lamb, and they fatten him up for 14 days. And then at sundown, every house is cutting the throat of that lamb. And then they take the blood and they put it over the doorpost. Like imagine this door, check this out here to my left. You see this door has two sides and a wall of bucket, right? And they would put that blood on both sides of that door and a bucket, all right? We do that in here, we keep it every year. There's this sheet that stinks of lamb's blood. It's a terrible smell. And we keep it every year. I don't know how much blood has been on this thing. Back when I was doing the lamb by myself, I would just put all the blood over this sheet. And the cod and the brothers just kept it up. And this thing has a terrible smell. I don't even know if if his things can fix this thing. Because it's terrible. I mean, man. So anyway, we take it wherever we go and we put it around the door. And it's somewhere in this hotel, somewhere, I don't know where, right? And it's because of this law. And this law is important. And we still keep the spirit of it today. All right, continue.
And on the upper doorpost of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. Verse 8.
So once again, so every house that has just killed the lamb and is now eating lamb has blood over the door and on the side of the door. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread.
That's important. It has to be roasted, right? It can't be boiled. We're about to read that. It has to be roasted, and you have to eat it with unleavened bread. Okay? Go ahead.
And with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
And what's a bitter herb? Who knows? A herb is a vegetable. But what is a bitter vegetable? A vegetable that comes
Like onion or
an onion is a bitter vegetable, meaning you might eat a carrot, but you wouldn't just start biting into a raw onion, right? Because it's bitter. And there are other bitter vegetables.
radish.
Garlic would be a bitter vegetable.
Radish.
A radish, I don't know, radish might not be bitter. There's another one. Horseradish. Horseradish would be bitter. And so in essence, you're making this lamb with onions and garlic. And you're roasting the thing up with fire. Come on, go.
Verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor salt it at all with water.
Now that's important. Why? Because remember, we have to rush. And it would be faster to boil it. It would be quicker. And of course, it would be much faster just to eat it raw, like the heathens do. But he's saying, even though you're rushing, don't eat it raw. And don't boil it. You're still going to roast it with fire, which of course takes the longest to roast it with fire, but you're still going to do that. Continue.
But roast it with fire.
Go ahead.
His head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof.
Meaning the whole damn thing. Keep going.
Verse 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which will remain until the morning, ye shall burn it with fire.
And remember, this was like a sacrifice during the time when we kept sacrifices. That was before the ultimate sacrifice that our King made, who is the Lamb of God, our King Yahushua Christ. So we still keep the tradition of this Passover, but of course we don't treat the lamb as if the lamb is dying for our sins, because it is not. The lamb is food now. Everyone understands? I'll show you that 1 Corinthians if you need it, okay? Continue.
Verse 11. And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand.
You might wonder why we're dressed the way we're dressed. This is the reason that we are arrayed in warlike apparel. This is why we're dressed like this, because this was a meal. It was different than a relaxed meal when you're sitting around with your family. This isn't Christmas dinner. That's not what this is. This isn't Thanksgiving dinner or Easter dinner. This is not a relaxed family meal. This is a meal that we dress ready to fight if someone kicks in our door, angry about the death of their child. Read that last part again.
And thus shall you eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand.
Your staff in your what?
in your hand.
In your hand. You understand? So just imagine that you have a weapon in your hand and you're eating lamb. While you're holding your gun, while you're holding your sword, you're eating lamb and eating bread because you're expecting some crying Egyptian to kick in your door and blame you for the death of their children. So now you're eating it fast while you hold your weapon. So that's why we dress like this. That's why we have all these swords, all these weapons, and all this stuff that scares white people something terrible. The brother told me that the news media was at the Passover yesterday. They came to the Passover, filming everything, scared to death. You scared this?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You're gonna beat your hand too. You know that? Cocoa Beach. Cocoa Beach, they were invaded. They were terrified. I'm sorry, Cocoa Beach. Sorry about that. My apologies. But this is why you were so scared, because this is God's law in practice. This is what it looks like when you keep the law. So we're not dressing, the way we would comfortably eat a meal. We're dressing like men set to the fit of their family. That's the way we're dressing because that's the law. All right, we didn't mean to scare you, but it is the law. Everybody gets it, right? Continue.
And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night.
For I will what?
Pass through the land of Egypt this night.
If you wondered why it's called the Passover, it's because of this. That lamb is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night. This night, the Most High had set a judgment to kill the firstborn of every Egyptian, whether it be man or animal. Meaning the firstborn cow died. The firstborn mouse hiding in the wall died. The firstborn of everything that breathed died. And the Most High knew it, and so he set up this meal and told them how to eat it, because he knew he was coming through Egypt tonight. Continue.
And will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast.
You should understand that everything. The first chicken that hatched out of that egg was dead. Everything that came out first died that night. Give me the screams. That one is so beautiful. Where's that screaming one that asked when they heard the screams and wisdom of Solomon? Someone find that, officers. Go ahead, up. I'm sorry. You can keep going, Asha. You got it.
And against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment.
And read that again.
And against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment.
See, the Egyptians had many gods. All of them know Zaryak, and they fear him.
Right.
Because Captain Zaryak destroys Egyptian gods. Wipes them out. There are 1,000 Egyptian gods. But on this night, God judged those Egyptian gods. Ashley.
Exodus 11:6.
The what? Exodus 11:6. The Most High decided to judge those gods. Since those gods are so great, and you love them more than you love me, then let them save you tonight.
Right.
That's all. Pray to them tonight. That's all. Turn to them now and see if they can defend you against the God of Israel. Continue.
Against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Verse 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you.
You can't stand up, bro. I can't stand up because of these cameras.
No, you can stand, sir.
Okay, let's go over this story real fast, all right? So now, just so you can understand, So imagine, now read that part one more time.
And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
So now imagine this door, you got blood over the door, right? So the Most High is flying his angels through Egypt. And he's there to kill the firstborn of everything. Now there's blood on the door and around the door. And that blood is a what? Read that again.
It shall be for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
Now what is a token? Who knows? Say that again, raise your hand. Say it again. A symbol, give her a hand. And symbols are important. Symbols are important. Symbols aren't the essence of the thing that they represent, but they're important. So that people, or in this case, the Most High God, can know what is in your heart. You know what you believe by the symbol. The same way we rock a shield or we wear fringes and it tells people something about us. How you dress matters because many of the things that you wear are symbols to what is in your heart, which is why the way a woman dresses is so important. What you wear doesn't mean you're a whore, but the way you dress, those things are the tokens of a whore. Right? And there are things that people do, and it says what's in your mind. Well, when the angel of death came through Egypt, if he saw blood on your door, it said something about the people in the house. It said that the people in this house keep my commandments. Right. And so as he's flying through, he's looking for any door that doesn't have blood on it. And that door, he's going in that house. And put the blood over the door, then he would do what? Pass over it. Pass over the house. He would just fly by it. And that's why this is called the Passover. Because the angel of death would just pass over that house and not go in that house. Now you think about that. And you think about what you want for your family. Whether or not you want death in your house. And there are things you can do, a way you can represent. And by the grace of the Most High God and the death of our King, Yahushua, the angel of death could pass over your house as well. I pray you understand. Continue.
And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you.
The plague shall not be upon you to destroy you. Continue.
When I smite the land of Egypt.
When I do what?
I smite the land of Egypt.
We continue.
Verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generation.
What does the term memorial mean? Who knows that? Memorial. Real simple. It just means you're going to remember this. You're not going to let this go because you've been in captivity 400 years. You're not going to let this go because you're in the United Kingdom and they don't do this anymore, because you're in Trinidad, because you're in Jamaica or Puerto Rico or Mexico. You're going to remember this in all your dwellings, in all your generations. You need me ask you?
No, you need a Wisdom of Solomon 18:10.
That's the one I think I wanted earlier. Hold both of those. Ash is done. Go ahead.
Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Verse
How long? How long?
Forever.
Like most things in the Bible, the fact that it happened, thousands of years ago is irrelevant. That means absolutely nothing because you have to do this thing forever. Continue.
Verse 15. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. Even the first day shall ye put away leaven out your houses.
So that answers the first question, Salaki. When do you have to stop eating crackers that are leavened, donuts, pizza? That's the big one. That's the one that's hard to give up that pizza. In about 7 days, it's going to be 8 mad rush to get pizza wherever you are. I can't even stand pizza, but every 7 years I want pizza. Every 7 days. I want pizza. After this holiday, I don't know what the hell it is. There must be a demon on the pizza. Well, anyway, you had to get it out your house last night. So you could not eat leavened products last night. What are leavened products? Donuts, pizza, bread in general. Most cereals contain leavening. Actually,
So it starts last night.
last night. Getting the leaven out of your home started last night. And of course, if the leaven isn't in your home, it can't go in your mouth. Right? So you couldn't eat leaven last night.
Right.
Everybody gets that. Continue.
Seven days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Verse 6.
Right, you couldn't be counted as an Israelite anymore. You would be a heathen or a Gentile because you did not give it 11. You start the Passover night, you start the Feast of Unleavened Bread is tonight. That's when we all come together for a feast to celebrate eating unleavened bread. But the leaven had to get out of your home for the Passover. Continue.
Verse 16. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation. And in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you.
That just means it's a Sabbath, and that's what we're doing right now. It's a Sabbath, meaning it's a mandatory day off from your Israelite boss. He can't force you to work. The only work that can be done is the work that's done to prepare the lamb and prepare the bread. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt.
Have I brought your what?
Your armies out of the land of Egypt.
Have I brought your what?
Your armies out of the land of Egypt.
That's why we're celebrating. That's why we're celebrating. Shout out to the Hebrew Academy. Give me a celebration. Where the Hebrew Academy at? You want the Hebrew Academy? Stand up right now, Hebrew Academy. Put your hand up. Look at it. Look at it. How does it feel? How does it feel to be better than other men? How does it feel? Feel good, yeah. You see, that's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift that Command and General Yohana provides so many of us. The gift of knowing that you're better than other men.
Right.
That you're better than them. Sisters, how does it feel to lay next to a man who's better than other men? It's a precious thing. It's a precious thing. Well, this night, our armies came out of captivity. Our armies were freed from the land of captivity, free to defend their own families and raise their own businesses and to decide their own future. Because of that, we celebrate. And that's why we're here tonight. Is everybody eating unleavened bread?
Not yet.
Man, just get the bread out of here. Start feeding everybody all the time. Don't wait to feed other people when we're doing these high holy days, all right? Just start getting it on immediately. With the wine and the food and everything. Give it a hand. That's the whole point of this. This is not a class. You get that, right? This is a what?
Celebration.
It's a feast, right? That's the whole damn thing. So what? I got some right here. All right, that's the whole point of this whole thing. All right, continue.
Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. Verse 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at eve ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 20th day of the month.
The first day of the what day?
The first day of the month.
And what day? Said it just now.
Okay, the first month, so like in the first month On the 14th day of the month, ye shall eat unleavened bread.
And what's the first day? What's the 14th day of the first month? Passover.
Right.
Passover, which is why you could not eat unleavened bread yesterday. Because on the 14th day of the first month, ye shall eat unleavened bread. You gotta eat unleavened bread. You can't eat leavened bread. So you can't have pizza, most cereals. Am I missing something every year that people ask about? Oh, breadcrumbs. Some of you fry things with breadcrumbs. You can't do that for the next 7 days. What else? There you go. You cannot eat flour tortillas that you buy, because all flour tortillas that are commercially obtained have leaven in them. But you can eat corn tortillas. Corn tortillas are, by definition, unleavened bread.
Right.
Give them a hand. It's going to be Taco Tuesday for 7 days.
Right. Some video.
So say again?
Video.
Video. Give him a hand. Ask for a hand. It's right up his alley. It's all you want to eat anything. Yes. Everyday tacos. All the tacos you want.
Right.
All of them. Eat them all the time. Get your fill of tacos. As long as they're corn tacos, they are unleavened bread, which is more proof that the tribes, the so-called North or the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Hispanics, that is in their culture to eat unleavened bread. Right? And so now we'll all eat it for 7 days. All right? I'm sorry, continue. Beer is lawful. Let me give you the things that are lawful that might confuse you. Yeast extract. You have to read the back of everything, every baked good. You got to read it down, right? And you might see yeast extract. Yeast extract is not yeast. Yeast extract is a caramel flavor. That's it. There is no leaven at all in yeast extract. You can completely eat it. It's fine. Everybody understands. What you cannot eat is sodium bicarbonate. You cannot eat baking soda. And you cannot eat leavening agent. And you cannot eat yeast. So if you buy something, you got to read the back of everything and teach your children to do it. It might not only teach them the law, but it might teach them also how to read. And also the prophet.
Right.
All right? As we can do. Go ahead. If you have any questions about what to eat, ask it now. If you want to know, can you eat this? Can you eat Ritz crackers? Hell no. You cannot eat a Ritz cracker. What about those pretzels? You cannot eat pretzels either. Damn right, no pretzels. You cannot eat, come on.
What are the different cereal that you can eat?
Oh, man.
I think.
What is an unleavened cereal? Who remembers?
Where's off the bun?
Cheerios. Cheerios. Even the Honey Nut Cheerios? All right, you heard it. Honey Nut Cheerios. All right, Cheerios are unleavened. According to that officer over there. Go ahead.
Just like Officer Bun.
But most cereals, the flakes, all those flakes are leavened. Any type of flake, that's why it's flaked. It's flaked because it has baking powder, baking soda in it. And that's the reason it crisps up like that. Fried chicken. Now you can make fried chicken at home. That's fine because you can't eat flour because the unleavened bread is made of flour, right? So you can coat your chicken in flour, but you cannot eat KFC original recipe. You cannot eat KFC at all. Or Popeyes at all, because that crispy exterior is because of a leavening agent. Right? So you cannot eat any Popeyes, damn. No Popeyes at all. None of that, what else do they love to eat? All of your fried chickens, you just really can't eat them. Because they all have leavening in it, but you still can make it at home. You might, some of your, your terrible Moabite places, they don't have leaven in their fried chicken. and 4 chicken wings and fried rice, that is unleavened, just to let you know. All right? I'm missing something? You get it. All right, go ahead.
Verse 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at evening shall you unleavened bread unto the 21st day of the month at evening. Verse 19. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is unleavened, even that so shall be cut off from the congregation.
So you don't want to get kicked out of the nation because someone saw leavening in your house, because you can't eat it. So they put you up now. You were right. So now, so that you better do is, so you get it out your house because if anybody eats it, they're kicked out of the nation. Some of you get mad at us because we kick people out of school. Give me a hand for kicking people out of this goddamn school. I do many duties in my service to my Lord, Commander General Yohana, the man that I serve. But that one I do out of pleasure. That's my pleasure, to kick people out of the school. I kicked people out this week and they couldn't come to the Passover. And when I heard about it, it gave me such pleasure. Well, guess what? Get out of here. Well, if you were caught eating bread, you got kicked out the nation. No one would even consider you an Israelite. You understand that? They would say, are you an Israelite? No, not him. No, he's not. He's a heathen. He's a Gentile. You were kicked out of the nation for eating bread. For eating bread. So to make sure you don't eat it, you had to get it out your house. So when you went home, you were supposed to get the bread out of your crib. You got bread in your refrigerator, bread in your cabinets, cereal with leavening. That had to be gone by sundown Passover. Everyone understands. That had to go. Now remember it says out of your house. So what are your options? You can throw it away, which you always can do, or you can put it in the trunk of your car. You can put it in your basement, somewhere where everyone knows that you can't get to it and eat it. You get my point? Like many states have a law about handguns. If you can't have a handgun in this state, but you have one in your car, it has to be unloaded and in your trunk. Why? Because they know then you can't get to it. And bread is the same way for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So put it somewhere where if a priest came into your house, he would know for a fact you weren't eating it. Because it's in the trunk of my car, it's on the roof, it's in the basement packed away in a box, or it's in the damn trash outside. Everyone gets it, right? Continue. I don't know if we're done, go to the other one, right?
And verse 18 up to verse 19. Shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Verse 20. You shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Verse 21.
Okay, also, I forgot that part. Okay, you shall eat nothing leavened, and in all your habitations ye shall eat unleavened bread. So not only must you give up light, airy, fluffy bread, but you have to eat unleavened bread. That's the hard part. Meaning every day for 7 days, you have to grab some of this or a tortilla, and you have to eat it. Every single day of the 7 days. That is important to the tradition and to understanding the spirit of the law. Because why? Because this is what we had, and this is all we had. So you want to eat it until you get what? Sick of eating it. That's the point. Because they were sick of eating it. And what did they do when they got sick of eating it, officers? Who knows? It's a doctor. They kept eating it, and then what did they do? They went went against Moses and wanted to go back to Egypt.
Right.
That's in the Bible. Over this. Precept. In Egypt, we had the flesh pots. We had this. They got so sick of this, they chose slavery. They said, I want to go back because I'm sick of eating this unleavened bread. This is all we have, and I'm tired of eating it. And they went against Moses to try to go back to Egypt, so much so that the Most High sent them quails to eat. And they ate so much that they were like gluttons and they died from eating too much. He gave them exactly what they wanted. They got sick of eating that bread. What was the bread they made of? Manna. They got so sick of it that they wanted to go back to Egypt. They were done with it, man. Done with it. Well, we keep the tradition. So you keep eating it. So whatever meal you make, you're a Benjamite, you're making those oxtails and jerk chicken, get Benjamite there. Where's Benjamite here? Benjamin, right, stand up, Benjamin. Get Benjamin here. Damn right. You can eat all the oxtails and jerk chicken you want. You better eat some unleavened bread. Whatever you eat, you are going to make this bread. You're going to become experts at making this thing. Now, how do you make this damn thing? You make unleavened bread. In essence, if you get flour and water in a bowl, you flatten it out, that's unleavened bread. Okay, you're done. But now you can add something to it. If you want to put an egg in it, that's your choice. You want to put some oil in it, you want to fry it, you want cinnamon, that's what you like. You can make it however you want to make it, but you got to eat it.
Right.
You got to eat some every day, and you brothers and sisters, you'll become experts in trying different things and making it different ways. Give Commander General your honor sister a how about hand. Commander General your honor sister how about makes the bread, the best unleavened bread I have had to this damn day. She's been making it for 35 years, so you can understand. But you want to, try it out and get it the way you like it, and you can make it however you want to make it. It just, of course, cannot have any leavening in it. All right? Continue.
Verse 20, you shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Verse 21, then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your
That's it. We read that already, right? Now give me the ones you're holding, all right? Let's try to move.
Exodus 11:16.
Exodus 11 and 16, go ahead.
Exodus 11 and 16.
The crime. Exodus 11:6. 11:6.
Exodus 11 and 6. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
I love this precept. This is an excellent precept. This is the Most High telling Moses what his plan was, what his judgment was. Can you read that again? What do you think?
Exodus 11 and 5. And the firstborns in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of beasts. So imagine that Pharaoh's son died that night, his firstborn son. His servant, the woman that sweeps the place that Pharaoh lives in, her son died. Firstborn of everything died that night. Continue. Verse 6. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it anymore.
Imagine screaming and crying that had never happened in history. And you have to put yourself there. Every house, in the middle of the night, all you hear is just screams coming from every home. It was God's love being demonstrated in Egypt.
That's right.
That's what that scream represented.
That's right.
Those screams represented the abundance of God's love for the children of Israel.
That's right.
And that's what it was. And it's hard for, us blacks and Hispanics. We're so used to oppression. We think God shows love, We think God's love is really in your mind. We think God loves you because you feel good. You got joy in you. That's what they say. You got joy in my bones and joy in my heart. Right? You think that's God's love.
Right.
Because that's the only way you've ever experienced it. But imagine seeing and hearing God's love because the people who killed your children, now they're crying over their child. And you didn't kill them. You didn't pick up a weapon. You didn't do anything but serve God. And now they are all crying the way you cry. That was a demonstration of God's love. And it was they were screamed all over Egypt. Continue.
Verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
Read that again.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
This is an act of love, man. While the Egyptians were crying because their firstborn children were dead, a dog couldn't bark at an Israelite. Not one. A dog would see you and shut his damn mouth and say nothing. This is the greatest act of love in history to this point. There's a greater one coming. There's a greater one coming, which is why we're here tonight. Let there be a warning to our enemies. God isn't done loving us. Where you want to say that?
Yeah, right.
He's not done. He loved us that night, and he'll love us again.
That's right.
Our enemies died. They cried. They mourned. That's right. They were sad.
That's right.
And a dog wouldn't bark at us. Continue.
Against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Read that again.
Against man or beast.
You know what that means? So like a dog didn't bark at you, and a dog didn't bark at your beast. Meaning another dog didn't bark at your dog. Another dog didn't bark at your cat. A dog didn't bark at you or your beast. Why? Why?
That ye may know how the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
That's why we're here, right? Because we're different than them. And this difference saved our lives one night.
That's right.
This difference. This difference is why we didn't die. And if you can understand Jesus Christ, who we know as Yahushua Mashiach, our King, because there is no difference between you and our oppressor, that's why we're dying. We die because there is no difference now between you and the other nations. That's why we're dead. That's why we are dying of drugs and violence and plagues. Because now there is no difference. So we die just like them. There was a time when the Lord our God made a clear difference. And he's going to make it again.
That's right.
Continue to have. Go ahead. Then just two more, right? Go ahead.
Verse 8, and all thy servants shall come down unto me,
Go ahead.
and bow themselves unto me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people that follow thee.
I think that's it. I broke that down earlier. Wasn't it one more? Wisdom of Solomon, and we'll get back on to the.
How's that? Wisdom Song 1? 18 and 10.
If you don't like a hand, come right out. us are doing the service, all right? Well, he just up here to roll with me today. That's all. We hang out. Come to we just up here hanging out. It's just me, you, and this young brother right here rocking it out. All right, go ahead.
The book of the Apocrypha, the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 10. But on the other side, there sounded an ill-according cry of the enemies. And it,
What does it say in
verse 9. For the righteous children of good men did sacrifice secretly, and
one more verse.
verse 8.
Listen
Wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us, whom thou hast called. Verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies.
Read that again.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemies.
And that's important, man. And you can't claim to love God without accepting both of those. Right, yeah.
So like if everyone can please lower their voice, Baba Shah.
Try to keep the noise down. I can barely talk. Keep the noise down before I start talking to you. All right? So now, what happened? It's extremely difficult to love God and not accept both of these. And that's important today, because today, of course, you can't accept the destruction of the wicked and still claim to love God. You have to be sad and miserable because everyone doesn't get saved. How many times do you have to battle someone about that? Well, why can't white people be saved? Well, you telling me everyone doesn't get saved? Why can't we come to your Passover? How come you picking me up and kicking me out of the Passover? Why can't I come? This is why. Read that again.
God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 7. So of thy people was accepted both the salvation of the righteous and destruction of the enemy.
That's what happened that night. We accepted that, yes, we are the ones getting saved.
Right.
No one else, us. And we also accepted that the wicked were being destroyed. We accepted that, and there is no salvation without it. Salvation is part of being saved. Part of being saved is other people not being saved. That should be, understandable.
Right.
Or else what in the hell are we working so hard for? Right. If everyone gets saved, then what's the point of giving up drugs? Right. Giving up crime? Right. Giving up things that your flesh loves, but the spirit hates? Well, on this night, the Egyptians had to die. They had to go, and the Israelites had to live. Right. And we accepted it. Continue.
Khan, verse 8. For wherewith thou didst punish our adversaries, by the same thou didst glorify us, whom thou hast called.
You get that? The Lord punished our enemies and glorified us, and we celebrate it every year. Right. Because it is absolutely beautiful.
That's right.
Continue.
Khan, verse 9. For the righteous children of good men did sacrifice secretly, and with one consent made a holy law.
We sacrificed secretly back then. Why? Because we piled into our houses. We put blood on the door. We didn't want the Egyptians to know because they were about to be screaming and crying and mad.
Right.
And these were the children of good men.
Right.
Good fathers who taught their children to put that blood over the door. Who taught their children to kill that lamb. And taught those children to obey Moses. Right. The same way we teach you to obey Commander General Yohana. Give him a hand.
That's right.
That's if you want to live.
Right.
That's if you want to live. That's up to you. Continue.
Khan, that the saints.
Second word. If you don't mind, I'll take one more. Say me one more time. Go ahead. Please continue.
That the saints should be alike partakers of the same good and evil.
That the saints should be alike. It should be one. That's another major ethic in the UPK. That's all being the same. All of us being the same, man. we think alike, we dress alike, our opinions are the same.
Right.
Everything is the same about us. Why? Because on one night, thousands of years ago, we all shared salvation while our enemies shared death.
Right.
And we remember it, and we keep it going. If you don't mind, please clear it up.
The fathers now singing out the songs of praise. Verse 10. But on the other side there sounded an ill according cry of the enemy.
So we're in our houses singing like we sung yesterday. In our houses singing. But on the other side, we. On the other side, what?
An ill according cry of the enemies.
An ill cry of the enemy, screaming, well. You've heard that sound. It's the sound you heard your mother make over your brother, right? Over your sister,
Right.
or your aunt make over your cousin, right? There's no black person that has not heard that sound. No Hispanic that doesn't know what it's like when a woman is crying over a dead child. It's terrible. You know, my people went to your crib. Oh, no, your cousins died. I didn't even think about that. The germ man, all of his cousins got all killed all at once. Man, he took me and Joey out. I don't even think about it. Because the sound, it like a stain in my mind. That's the best way I can understand it. It's like a stain in my head of when she wailed out in the living room. Well, that night, they cried like that.
That's right.
They heard what we heard.
Right.
Now, let them get used to it.
Right.
Let them go to church. Let them buy t-shirts. Let them go put faces on t-shirts.
Right.
Let them do it. Continue.
And a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed. Verse 11. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person.
So you want this is part. I'm gonna give you the answer if I say it. The master went through it, the servant went through it, the king went through it, the commoner went through it, which means that this punishment was not about what? Right here?
The Pharaoh.
Okay, it happened to the Pharaoh, but it also happened to the servants. So this punishment was not about what? So what is that?
Meaning like it was a racial thing. It wasn't about a rich person.
It wasn't about, punishing the rich person.
Right.
It's our oppressor. Because the poor one died too.
Right.
So remember, the rich one was the one beating our back.
Right.
The poor one was poor, sweeping the floor. So why did he die? Of course, you can understand why Pharaoh's son died. Because he's Pharaoh's son, and Pharaoh is beating our backs and forcing us to build those monuments to arrogance, which are pyramids. But why is the poor Egyptian also dying? He didn't beat our backs. So then why are both of them dying? Brothers right here, I can't see you. Go ahead.
Because they all the same people.
Because they all the same what?
People.
Say again?
People.
I can't hear you.
They're all the same people.
What's another word for people?
Nation.
Say it again?
Nation.
So the rich one is dying, the poor one is dying. The one who's the oppressor is dying, and the one who sweeps the floor is dying. What do they have in common? It's not class. It's not money. So what do they have in common? What?
The bloodline, sir.
Race.
Right.
Race. They died because they were Egyptian.
Right.
That's it. They didn't die because they were the ones beating us because this man was poor. He was sweeping floors and shoveling out stables. He died too. The Lord killed a race of people for us.
That's right.
Because race matters. Oh yeah. Why is that so beautiful? Because he can save a race of people too.
Right.
He can save a race.
Right.
On this night, I'll read it for you one more time. Take it to your preacher. Those of you who are visitors here tonight, who are really sinners but dressed up like one of us. Take this back to your preacher and ask him to explain. Go ahead.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 8.
Mr. Bartley, you know, Richard reported on him.
Verse 11. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person.
Why in the hell? Why? Why did the king suffer like the common person and the common person like the king? What did the common person do? The common person didn't refuse to let us go. Who refused to let us go out of Egypt?
Pharaoh.
Pharaoh did. Pharaoh refused to let us go. Moses said, let my people go. Pharaoh said no. So what did the common person do and the servant do? He had the nerve to be Egyptian.
Right.
That was his job.
That's right.
He had the nerve. The nerve. But there are a lot of people here that got some nerve too in America.
That's right.
They got nerve to be something else. It's weed. And they're going to pay for that too.
That's right.
Keep going.
Verse 11. Verse 12. So they all together had innumerable death with one kind of death. Neither were the living sufficient to bury them.
There wasn't enough living people to even bury the amount of debt they had. Continue.
For in one moment, the noblest offspring of them was destroyed.
I think that's it. I think you get the whole point, right? So you know what you got to do tonight? No unleavened bread. You got to eat some unleavened bread. We got it in this room. You better take advantage of it and get some for tomorrow. Hold that bread, eat some, take it up to that room. You need to eat it. If you're in a jam, of course, you go into a store and you buy some corn tortillas, keep them with you. They're delicious. You eat some every day. Everybody gets it, right? Let's get back on it. I'm sorry. Next brother, come on.
Yarash Kama, exact like some anti-registry. Yarash Kama.
Rush him up, Bun Gad, Bun Yashal.
Yarash Kama, Gad, Banyasha.
How about Shimya Shah Brakatha?
How about show you how shot rock it up? Where you from, Hiroshima? Give Virginia a hand. Virginia rounding it out. I'm sorry.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22. What will tell the rock? Which is a yard. What is a gum? La the Kala, Ba'a, Shaka, Shalaki, Shadak, Baba, what is a rock? Walaquat, what is a yard? La Walaquat, La Aya, Walagalau, the Isaac, a thumb, Slaki, Atma, and Yad, Yahweh, Alahayaka. Verse 23, where the boy Yahweh Al Mashana Amor. The boy Ala Banya Yasha Ala La Amor Basadash. Hasha Yahaya, Ba'afo La Haran, like Kadash, Yahaya Lakam, Shabbat Wan. Verse 25. Verse 25. Verse 25. Zabak, Shaborman, Ayo, Slaki, Ai, Mamakura, Kodash, Ka, Malaka, Iba, Slaki, Ibadala, Aishawa, Wakarab, Domasha, La Yahweh, verse 26, where the boy Yahweh Ali Mashala Amor, Aishawa, Lafadash, Ashab Yahya, Hazar, the one, Makaror, Slaki.
Sluggy, if I may. Sluggy, if I could. Hey, we have the Shema on the Hebrew. If I could, everyone has the Shema.
This is the Lord's holy service, man. If you can't be quiet and ask to be quiet, then maybe this ain't the place for you. You understand? Let's hear the Lord's words, man. Let's hear the Hebrew being spoken.
Right.
And let's hear the Spirit of the Lord being broken out. Let's go behind you speaking, man.
Right.
You can't shut your goddamn mouth.
That's right.
Let's be quiet in the service. If you gotta conduct business like normal, you ain't gotta be too loud. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think you know how to shut the kids that they have. If you need me to help you with those children, if you need my help, just call me and I'll help you. Those kids will sit down like robots. Birds will land on their heads. Call me on the phone and help you with your children if you can't control them, all right?
Plenty of trouble.
All the time. Go ahead.
I'm still here talking. A sister. I don't want to call nobody out, but slack. I'm trying to do sometimes. Let's come on now. Can we be quiet for the service? A lot of sisters. Shalom.
You got it, word.
Verse 28. Wa'ainanyikum. Pashapikum. Hakuraftum. Ashab. La Yahaya. Slaki. Rukab. Malaka La'a. Aishawa. Ma'atazam. Hayawam. Fazak. Yayawam. But Slaki. Kabor. That's it.
Let me have one. You need to listen. This young warrior knows he speaks Hebrew. You don't speak Hebrew. You can barely speak English. This warrior speaks Hebrew. Pay attention. Good.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22 in the English. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field. When thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest, and shall leave them unto the poor and to the stranger.
If I could, let me just break these down for you so you understand them, all right? This is another law that the Most High provided us to take care of the poor. As you know, the Most High doesn't want our people to be beggars, right? Being a beggar can stain your honor. So the Most High provided for the poor of our people so that they didn't have to beg. So every farmer, everyone that had a farm or had orchards or trees or vineyards, you could only pick the crops from the center of your field. The corners, meaning the outskirts of your fields, you had to leave the fruit on the trees. Leave the fruit on the vine so that the poor could come and that was their portion. Think of it like a welfare system or the original welfare system where you're not begging for this food, it's yours. They're giving it to you and the farmer leaves it on the trees. You come in there and pick it, it's yours. And the Most High provided for the poor in that way, and so you didn't have to go beg a farmer for food. Because that was your food if it was on a tree that was on the outskirts of his farm. Everyone understands. Go ahead.
I am the Lord your power. Verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, like it. Verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Verse 25.
That's another high holy day, the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. In your cities, when you go back home, we're going to be doing all these. If you're new, you'll see all of these being celebrated and kept in their proper time and tradition, all right? That's the time when we blew trumpets to remember that there was a time when the land of Israel came and went by the blowing of a trumpet, meaning we knew by this sound there was an enemy coming. We knew by this sound we should shut our gates and come into our homes. Right. We knew by this sound to go out and fight. Right. And so we remember that there was a time when we were in a state of war. And that's the problem with peace. Right. Peace is, this confession is good for the soul, my God. I'm so uncomfortable because right now there's no fake Israelite group trying to destroy us because we conquered them all. That I can feel, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't have an enemy. Right. I don't have one. There's no, we wiped out those purple faggots. We wiped out the red and white ones. And then we're not fighting the cops anymore. We're not fighting the FBI. We're not fighting the skyscrapers in Philadelphia. At those times I was more comfortable.
Even this week, you know, ain't there no police pulling up on them? Yeah, and I ain't seen them on the streets.
It's like if you're a man of war, it can feel like you have no purpose without an enemy. Right. Those of you who understand know what I mean. Well, in the time of peace, the Most High gave us laws to remember what it was like. Right. There was a time when you heard an alarm and you ran and got your weapon. You heard an alarm and you shut the gates of the city because we were under attack all the time. So because of that, we came and went at the sound of trumpets. And the Lord doesn't want you to forget it in the time of peace. That's the spirit of the law. Everyone understands. These laws all have that aspect of remembering a hard time, remembering a time of war, of hunger, or of something so that you don't forget. Right.
And listen also to Nehemiah, the 4th chapter, real quick, brother. And that brother right there reading, he will give me Nehemiah 4:15. Because what Jeremiah has been saying is so heavy. Don't forget that spirit of warfare, man. And right now, you don't understand how much mercy the Lord is giving you. Because our ancestors had to build the nation back and go to war at the same time. Your war right now is in your mind and your head. And you got to fight the voices telling you things other than what the Lord said. That's right. The spirit of the law, you go back to the scripture to read and remember. The Most High gave us, man. And during the time of Nehemiah, they had to build the temple with a sword in one hand and with a weapon in the other hand and a building tool in the next. Man, I got a building tool right here, a hammer, and I got my sword right here. Yeah. Like today, you would have your firearm, and then you would have a damn chisel saw right here. That's right. Or spackle the walls to build the temple back up again. That's how it used to be. But that was the spirit that our ancestors had. They love the heavenly people, and y'all better not forget that, man. Let's talk about warfare and nothing else. That's right. Read it for me, brother. Nehemiah 4:15. You understand me? That's the spirit we're supposed to be in. And let me tell you something for you sisters, the same thing. You gotta fight the spirit of the same garbage that sisters in the world do. That's your biggest battle, really, to be honest. Fight that other spirit that's in the world. You gotta bring it inside of here. That's your fight. You do that, y'all don't win. You don't win. You gotta go up. Read up.
Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 15. And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and power had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one unto his work.
That's what we doing here, the work of the Lord. Don't get it twisted. We come in here, y'all. We do it as some fun. We party like how Israel party, but there is work to be done. Just like the Lord had us come get you, and you came in here to other brothers and sisters. We got more to go get. Which means what? We got more work to do. Don't get in here and get comfortable and think we made it.
I know a lot of y'all be on Facebook. I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate Facebook. I hate it with a passion. It burns my soul. You understand? Because it gives like a fake facade, like you really something, but we really not according to the Lord. I can't stand it. But it's a good tool to push the truth. Remember that. Keep on reading, brother.
Verse 16, and it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah.
Keep on reading.
Verse 17, that which builded on the wall, and that they bear burdens with those that labor, every one with one of his heads brought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon.
Let me tell y'all something. Don't y'all forget the scripture right here, man. Because that's our job right here today in this captivity right now. And even though it ain't physical, it's still spiritual. And that same spirit they had back then, that same spirit of these scriptures they had back then, you gotta have right now to bring this truth forth. You understand me? If not, you ain't gonna do it. If not, you will be a Christian. Period. All of us, yes, I think straight Christian. Yeah, I'm just telling you what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I'm cool with the clap and not clap. I'm fine with that. I know they Christian.
Right.
I'll check quite a few of them when they call me talking trash. I'll take it home. I can hold up and I feel with it. The Lord calling you to be something different.
Right.
You understand me? In one hand, you will have your weapon, your sword. And the other hand, you will have your build tool to build this nation. That's your job.
That's right.
To build this nation.
Right.
Whether you're a brother or whether you're a sister, that's your job. Forget about your personal inconveniences, what you don't like, or what you care about. Who cares about that? I ain't got no mercy for you. I'll tell you right now, God ain't got nothing for me. I can't go to command jury until I think of my personal feelings.
Right.
Get checked. Right. So when you talk with your personal feelings, it was gonna happen. Yeah. Come on now, really? I'm about to be really serious with that, really. It's about a nation. It's not about this us. I mean, you, it's about us.
Just that also, what Jeremiah was saying earlier, also, just piggyback off of Hobbs too. Earlier today, just today, my son, he wanted some pizza. He wanted a few other things, you know. I said, well, we in the feast of unleavened bread, you know, so, you know, we can't rock with the, you know, the leavened dough. He said, Dad, 12 years old, Dad, I hate the feast of unleavened bread. I said, what you got to about? I said, you in my world now. I said, listen, we in a time of peace right now, like the gentleman having to go out early. You understand? So it seems like, why do all these things? Why be going through all this, you know? There's no reason. We do this to remember when we was at war. We do this to remember when we could not eat the leavened bread, even though I wanted to. We do this because we wanted some goddamn bread. We wanted some good cooked food. But we had to get the hell out of Egypt, man. So we gonna never forget that. None of us.
Right.
Children included. Right. Ain't gonna forget that. We're gonna pass it down to our kids. They're gonna pass it down to their kids, like the Lord said. I was honored that he even brought it up, and it made me think, man, it's so heavy how we do things. Like we're gonna be in the key, you know, no matter what your position is, you know, the Lord said 7 days go dwell in booths. He didn't care where you live, but you gonna remember the time, you understand, when we had no homes. When we had no matches, when we had to dwell in booths, we gonna remember our ancestors forever, man. Just like every other nation does, even in the times of peace.
It's so important. It can be difficult when you can have pizza every day. You can have a warm place to sleep. It can be difficult to force yourself to remember. But for other ones of us, that's all they want is war and killing.
That's right.
You better, I'm going to confess something else, Mike. I'll turn the camera off. I'm going to confess something else. We've been winning so much, I'm close to starting to fight with somebody.
I got you back, son.
I feel it. Like I'm about to start something. I need something.
We ready?
Okay, now we're not gonna be able to do that. That's not the turn the camera back on. We can never do anything like that, sir. The manager don't even know how to serve, because I don't want to come. I would never do that, of course. All right, let's continue, please, before I lose my rank. Go ahead.
So Leviticus chapter 23, verse 25. You shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 27. Also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
For those of you who are new, that's the Day of Atonement. That's a 24-hour fast. It's not Ramadan, which is missing lunch. Ramadan's not really it's basically missing lunch. Right. If you miss lunch, you love Allah. This is 24 hours, no food or water. You get my point? No food, no water, right? You afflict your soul. You get a theme to all these laws? There's a theme to this. It's a people who have made it out of captivity, a people who have food, who have water, and they are suffering on purpose.
Right.
They're choosing suffering. And that's where dedication comes from, young man. That's where discipline comes from. There's a suffering that's brought upon you. You lose your job. You're poor. And you have to go through that. There's a suffering you choose. Hebrew Academy, you understand what I mean, right?
That's right.
I thought you might. There's a suffering you choose. Well, the Day of Atonement is a day of suffering you choose. No food, no water, period, done. If you're healthy, if you're not pregnant, if you're not the elderly, then you're not eating or drinking for 24 hours, and you are going to think that you're going to die, but you will not.
Right.
And remember that the next trial you go through. Continue.
So verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Most High, your power. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 29 in the Hebrew. Hawa'a lekapar al yatam, lepanda Yahweh al yatam, kaya, kal, hanapash, ashar, la'ab, la'ayna, la'aytais, la'aytism, hayawam hazak, hanakartha, ma'ayim. Verse 30. Wakal, hanapash, ashar, the Aisha, Kal, Malaka, Ma'aitism, Hayawam. Verse 30, verse 31. Hazah, Wahabad, Habadaya, Hanapash, Hahawa'a, Makura, Aima, Kal, Malaka, La'a, Aisha, Kakwa, I will love, La Dorak to come, Bakal, my Shabbat to come. Shabbat, verse 32, verse 32. My Shabbat to come. Shabbat one. Hawa'al to come. Wa'ain, Wa'ain to come. The Pash to come. But the Sha'ayah, the Sadash, Ma'irad, Ma'irad, Irad. The Shabbat come. Verse 33. When you the bar Yahweh al Mashallah Amor, the bar al Yasha Allah Amor, Babakama, it's like I saw you from La Fadash, Shabaya Ayah, Azar, Khad, Abbas, it's like a Papakwa, La Amor, Bakamasa, I saw the one La Fadash, Hashimaya Azar, Slide verse 35. Shabbat Yam Yam, Layahawa, Bayawam, Hara Ashwan, Makara Kodash, Kam, Malaka.
Give him a hand. He's hungry.
Starting from verse 28 in English. 29 in English. Leviticus. Oh, okay, that's not it. Leviticus chapter 23, starting from verse 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will be the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. You shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your brothers. Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even, ye shall celebrate your Sabbath. Verse 33, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 34, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of their 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Most High. Verse 35, on the first day shall be in holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
The Feast of Tabernacle, that's what Jeremiah brought up earlier. That's where we went into tents and we lived in tents for 7 days. Now, this is not a law that we practice by the letter of the law since we went into captivities. This is also in the Bible where the Most High said that we stopped doing this once we went into captivity, because of course in captivity we don't have to remember what it was like to be homeless.
All right.
Because we're homeless right now.
That's right.
Everybody understand? Our people, I forget the percentage, but there are a great percentage of people that live in tents right now, or live in housing complexes because you're homeless, or live in shelters because you're homeless, or live in projects because you're homeless, or live in subsidized housing because you're homeless, or live on someone's couch because you're homeless. So this is not something that we do in practice as a nation, because we don't need to remember what homelessness is like. Because we're in it right now. But there will come a time when we will force ourselves into tents, because we will be people that have our own land and have our own mansions, and then we'll do it then by law. Right now we're doing it because of circumstance. A lot of you in the room right now tonight are homeless. On someone's couch in your grandmother's house. Everyone understands. Continue.
Verse 36, 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 36 in the Hebrew. Shabbat Yam Yam Makarabi, Slagit, Makarayabwa, Ashal Layahawa Bayawam, Hashamayana, Slagit, Hashamam Yanaya, Makara Kodash Yahaya, Lakam, Wakarabam, Ashal Layahawa, Aitizara, Slagit, Aitizara, Hawa Kal, Manaka, Aikata, the Aisham.
That's it.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 37. Allah, Allah, Aisha, Yahaya, Ashar, the Korah, Atham, Makaraya, Kodash, the Korah, like it, the Quaria, of course, like Korea, Ashar, the Yahawah, Ilah, Malakah, what's like one Malakah, the back, it's like you want to stock you, the boy, the one, by your one. Verse 38 in Hebrew. Malabad, Shabbatha, Yahweh. Malabad, it's like it. Wamalabad, Malawak to come. Malabad, cow, not the guard to come. Malabad, cow, not a walk, it's like it. Not a walk to come. Ashar, it's like it, the thunder, Le Yahweh. Verse 39. Kamasha, Aishai, the one, Lakadash, Hamashabiyaya, Ma'asak, come. Double it's like a double Ha'arabasa, but the fun one, it's like the Kagwa, Kag, Yahweh Shabbat, Yum, but by the one, Ra'ashman, it's like Harashman, Shabbatman. Wabba Yawam, Hashemayan, it's like Hashemayan word. Shabbat one.
There you go, clap it up for him.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 40. And you shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of fig trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High your power 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Most High 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it. Verse 36. 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, a drink offering, everything upon his day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbath of the Most High, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your freewill offerings, which ye give unto the Most High. Verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, you shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Verse 40. And ye.
That's the Feast of First Fruits, Josh. That's the Feast of First Fruits. You're going to do that back in your home cities, all right? Everybody did. Go ahead.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 40 in the Hebrew. Walakwatam lakam bayawam ha'ashwan ha'poria aitazah slaki hador napa slaki kapa. The more what I not aitazah aibaf what I was like a Ira what I Nahal. Washamak them lapanda Yahweh ala hayakam shabai yum. Verse 41 in the Hebrew. Wachad them ahwa chad la Yahweh shabai yum bashama slaki bashana kakwa I will lover slaki laraf yakam bachadash hashabaya the Chagwa, Ahwa.
verse 42 in the Hebrew. That's Slakia. But the shop was Slakia Shabbat, Yam, Kal, Hazak, Hazarak, but Yasha'ala, Yashakwa, but Basaka.
That's a Hebrew, right?
Verse 43 in Hebrew. Lama'an Yedaiwa, the rock to come Kaya Ba'ira, Slakia, Basawa, Hawashafat Ya'ab, but Yasha'ala, Hawatazaya, Ahma, Ma'arataza, Matazaria, and Yahweh, Alahayaka. Verse 44 in the Hebrew, where you the bar Mashah Ma'aija Yahweh Al Banya Yasha'ala. Verse 40 in the English, and you shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of fig trees, and the willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Most High in power 7 days. Verse 41, and ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Verse 42, you shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Verse 43, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am the Most High, your power.
That's what we went over earlier. A booth is a tent. That's what a booth is. All right, go ahead.
Verse 44, and Moses declared unto the children of Israel the peace of the Lord.
Let me say something to that, sir. Listen, y'all, we going forward after this Passover, this high holy day, right? And brother, you give me 1 Corinthians 5 and 7 real fast. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. The Lord said something very heavy, and all of y'all need to put in your spirit in your chest. Because this is where Satan's going to attack you at. He's going to attack with all his might, because you're holding on to it. Because you're holding on to this is when he's going to attack. I listen, confession is good for the soul. Because I get very aggressive at times. I call to him, what happened about it? First thing he goes, now highs. When he say now highs, I know I got to tone down a whole lot. Even we just talking, and somebody come out of me, he goes, now highs. I go, and I know he calming me down. You know what I mean? Because that old man of me was trying to come out. And to him, I didn't even know. That's why I call him all the time, like y'all do all the time. You know what I'm saying? He knows exactly what's going on. And I got to take it down. But you know why I said it happens? Because Satan attacks my old man. I can't attack your old man. And y'all got to learn how to fight it. During this Passover, man, we've been doing open to the Lord. Y'all purge that old level out of your spirit. Like, get rid of that old man out of your spirit, man. That's very important. Because right there, man, you got to be Satan no avenue inside of you. Satan is always looking to see what way he can get inside of your chest. For brothers and sisters. And if you can hold on to something about who you were in the past, oh, he coming about that. He will see you on it. And if you weak, if you don't listen, he will get you on it. Read the scripture, brother. 1 Corinthians 5, verse 7.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 5, verse 7. Purge out thereof, it's like it. Purge out therefore the old leaven.
Stop. That old leaven is that old person. That old leaven is who you were before you came in here. Your thoughts, your feelings, what you wanted. The Bible says get rid of it, man. Purge it out. Get rid of it. You know that leaven is an agent that makes things rise inside of you, right? It make it rise, right? If it's that your old man and something you hold on to, you don't think Satan don't know? Because you hold on to it, it can rise back up inside of you and cause you to be cast up out of it. You understand me? That's what it's saying here, to purge it, to get rid of it. To get rid of the old leaven, man. Keep on reading, warrior.
That ye may be a new law.
Be a what?
A new law.
Like the Bible said, man, when you come in this truth, you brand new. So I should say when one person come to truth, the angels rejoice. Like you brand new. I don't care what you did in the world. You understand me? And who you were in the world. You come in here, you brand new.
Right.
You understand me? Esau society don't want to give you a second chance. They want to look at you always as what they think you're going to be. But in Christ gave you that second chance. You take that chance, and you take it and you live it, man. You become that new up. You kill that old man. Michael Jackson said it best, that man in the mirror. Yo, you gotta look at yourself in that mirror and be honest. Stop with the bullshit. Stop with the games. But look at yourself and be honest. And you kill that old man. Go ahead, finish reading, Morgan.
As ye are unleavened, for even Christ I will pass over and sacrifice for us.
Christ died to give you a second chance. Let me tell you something. That's the point of the Christian church. I will tell you that Christ was a very great. He was like somebody that's not like you. So in the world, you can't relate yourself to Christ. But in the truth, you know, Christ was raised just like us. His mama and daddy had sex, had him. Everything you went through in life right now growing up, he went through. But still, didn't go against the power. Still, told by his daddy Joseph and did the right thing. So guess what? You can do the same exact thing. You can live like that. You can be that way, man. But when somebody say to me, well, we can't be perfect on this, I look at them. Yeah, watch this cat right here. So I look over there, yeah, watch this right here. That's exactly what I say in my mind. And I think look to what they say. Because we can be. And what it mean to be perfect, y'all? Just do what the Lord say do. It's simple. It ain't really hard. It's do what God say do. That's what it means to be perfect. We gotta be that way, man. Get rid of your old man. Keep on reading, brother, last verse.
God, so verse 8. Therefore, let us keep the feast.
Say it again.
Let us keep the feast.
Yeah, we gotta keep this feast. But keep it this way, man. How the Lord says. You change yourself. You don't have to become a different brother and sister. You understand me? That means you gotta have some self-discipline.
That's right.
You can't be acting whenever something happens all the time. You know how to control yourself, especially your mouth.
Right.
Not just your sisters, brothers. Sometimes they have problems with their mouth.
That's right.
You understand? Be quiet sometimes. Keep on reading, brother.
God, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice.
So you gotta give it up, man. Malice. Get out your chest, man. That old man had malice inside himself. Go ahead.
And wickedness.
Go ahead.
But with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
This is how we're supposed to go forward this Passover, man. Let me tell you something. As we end this Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you take these scriptures and you leave my head, you live it. Once again, you got other brothers and sisters out here that need this truth, just like you need it.
That's right.
You know how you feel in here, and I'm going to save your life. But you got to have other brothers and sisters that need the same as you got here. And they yearn for it. They want it. But guess what? We got to go give it to them.
All right.
But you know how we see them. How we see Christianity growing up, right? You know how we see it, right? Right. They see it too. So if they see you being a hypocrite, what the hell they gonna say? Right. How about you in the truth? Yeah, I wish I'm that. But they see you doing what you're being supposed to. They gonna call you a hypocrite and not gonna come in here. You leave out of here a brand new brother, a brand new sister, and let the whole world see what we're supposed to be. Christ said, let your light shine. Let it shine.
That's right.
Let the world see how we're supposed to be.
That's right.
It's one thing. You have to like say, yo, man, you do it too. Sister may say, no, sister, why you act that way? And then you're gonna break it down to what's going on. And Lord's gonna bring you the truth, man. But you ain't gonna do it being that same old wicked person holding on to something from the past. I'm saying it's not gonna happen. You're gonna purge that unloving spirit. That old man gotta go. Bring forth the right person. We're all called to this truth. So I'm gonna say this.
Also, too, this is it, right? I'm concluding the whole thing. Someone's going to leave from my work, so that we can get involved. One of y'all will leave me, all right, for the prayers. Also, too, Commander General Yohana will be coming down to do marriage blessings for those of you couples that will request a marriage blessing. Now, don't embarrass me. Don't get in that line if you know you don't belong in that line. Okay, first of all, what are the requirements? If your wife is not in the truth, don't get in the line.
Right.
If your husband is not in the truth, don't get in the line.
Right.
If either one of you have a slavery and you're not paying your tithes, do not get in the line.
Right.
If you don't have a slavery, then you don't owe any tithes because you don't have any income. But if you have slaveries and you are not paying your tithes, do not ask Commander General Yohana to bless your marriage because you are a sinner. Does everyone understand? If you smoke cigarettes, don't get in the line. If you smoke weed, don't get in the line. If you are someone that will ask Commander General Yohana to bless this marriage, but at the end of it, you're going to go home and hate each other, do not get in the line. Please go ahead. Because, okay, by asking for the Most High God to bless your marriage, and for God's representative, Commander General Yohana, to do it, you're making a statement that you are deciding to govern your marriage under the eyes of God. And of course, you can't hate each other and have it approved by God. If you're not willing to forgive each other, don't stand in that line. If you're not willing to be patient with one another, don't stand in that line. If you do it, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to kick you off the line, and then I'll be embarrassed in front of my Lord, Commander General Yohana, and then I'll embarrass you.
Right.
Does everyone understand? All right, after that, also, we'll have some councils. You want to contact Iowa, I'm out of Chicago to get the council list, and that's that. All right, and who wants to relieve me?
Barack.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get a general hand. And Rocky that, I don't remember saying it. If you are not paying tithes, please don't get in the line.
Right.
Don't get in the line. The Lord said where your heart is, your treasure will be there also. You understand? So if you're not paying tithes in ISUPK, you really don't love the UPK. Understand? And you really don't deserve our approval. If you don't need it any that way, you don't love us. Go to who you love. And let them approve your marriage. You understand? You got it, Oz.
La Yashara.
I imagine, as everybody's already standing, Wapanya Hakwadam, which means face the east, which is behind you.
Let's pray in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Badash, Hayah, Malakaka, Ama'a, Atazaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kaba, Haya, Bashamaya, Nathan Lanawa, Lacham, Kal, Yawam, Wasalach Lanawa, Chadabrat Nawa, Kasalach Nawa, Chadabrat Yanawa, Wala'a, Abayaan Nawa, Ponna Sayawan, Abol, Hamashan Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Lakar, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Waha'ala, Amen.
This is the Lord's Prayer in the English. And a lot of you, if you're new, you may say, well, why do they gotta speak the Hebrew all the time? The scriptures say, brothers that interpreted and rewrote those scriptures in other languages said, the Lord's word, I'm paraphrasing, the Lord's word has a greater power when it's spoken in its original tongue. Like you may pray in English, you may pray in Spanish, you may pray in French, you may pray in other languages, but when you pray in Hebrew, it shakes the spirit world, you understand? And so we pray in the Hebrew, and then, not to be barbarians so you can understand, we interpret in the English. Here's the Lord's Prayer in the English. And listen, I'm going to tell you, listen, Isupk is home of the truth. Everything we do, we try to please the Lord. That's why we cannot be affiliated with no other Hebrew Israelite group. Because the Lord will destroy the nation for a rotten few, man. And Commander Jimmy Holland instilled in me to always try to keep this nation perfect before the Lord, man. So that's what we do. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Abakashah, Nathan Lanawa, Hakach, Abba, Kamakala, Kamalawa, Hakach, Lataha, Hamatazariah, Hakach, Lahakbia, Hamatbia, Hakach, Arakalawa, Hatama'ala, Lakarasham, Mahasham Yahushai, Awara Aman.
That was the prayer for the power. Now here's the prayer for the power in the English. And we pray for the power from the Most High because our righteous and holy King told us that when I'm gone, there's going to come a day where you're going to receive power to heal, man. And power to do all type of things just like he did. And when that day comes, Israel, that's when the work begins. That's when the work going to begin. Y'all ready for that? Class of 2022, you ready for that? Because the work coming, Haku. The work coming. The prayer for the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please, please, give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, and to cast them out. In the name of our holy righteous King Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
Psalms 121. Asha'a, Ayanya, Al-Hahaya, Ma'ayan, Yama'a, Isaiah, Ma'ai, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa Ratzah, all of your done, number what? From God, all the other one, Shemayim, Hana, La'a, you're the one, Wala'a, you're your son, Shawamah, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayan, Yamyamka, Yamawam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakar, Mayarok, Alayana, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makawan, Yashamar, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Yabawa'aka, Ma'aifa, I will
This is Psalms, the 121st chapter in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hill. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy spirit. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Alahaya, Al-Damayalaka, Al-Bacharash, wa Al-Bashakwat, Al-Kaya, Hana, Awayabyanka, Yahama Yawan, Ra'ash, Al-Amaka, Ya'ira Yawan, Ya'ira Yawan, Sawat, Waya Baya Tazawa, Al-Tazabawan Yaka, Amawa, Lakawa, Wanahakyana, Makoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwan, Kaya, Nama Tazawa, La, Yakanwa, Ayaka, Bayan, Yakaratwa, Ahaya, Alawam, Waya Shama'alia, Mawa'aba, Wahagaya, Kabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Halasham, Anya Shabya, Hazawar, Gam Ashawa, Nagawa, Aimam, Hayawa, Zamrawai, Labranya Lawat, Salah, Aishalaham, Kamadyan, Kasaya Sara'a, Kayabyan, Panachal, Hayashwan, Nashamatwa, Ba'ayanda Ara, Hayawa, Kaman, La Dama, Shayatamba, Nadayambawa, Kamaira, Wakaza Abba, Wakaza Bach, Wabasawa Patka, Abahalam, Panyaham, Palawan, Wayama Kwashma, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashma, Wayama Harwa, Anyanai, Waya Kapawa, Waya Ampadwa, Waya Ta'aywa, Kaya, Atha, Shamka, Yahawa, Kapaka, Ayawan, Al, Kal, Ha'aratala.
One of my favorite chapters in the Bible. Psalms 83rd chapter. Psalms 83rd chapter, starting at the first verse in the English. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace. Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee, Yahweh, have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. They have consulted against thy hidden one. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, even the name of Yahshua, may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and those Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarene, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin, as the brook of Kazan, which perished and endured. They became dumb for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeed. Yea, all their princes, and Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession. All my power, I said, all my power, I said, all my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them. So persecute them. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Turn, let them be put to shame and perish, that when they know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high power over all the earth. Amen.
Rakta Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayakala, Wa Alahaya, the Tazab Yah, Alawak Yahana, Ha Alawakyam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Patazayanyam, Ha Khayayam, Wa Wakyam, Yahweh,
These are the blessings for all Israel in Egypt. Bless you, Yahweh. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh Shai. And Michael. And Michael. And the angel. And the angel. Commanding General Yohanan. And all the generals. All the captains. All the officers. All of our beautiful sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. We thank you. So be it. So be it. Now we're going to say a prayer in the English for the curses.
Yeah, right.
Blessed are you, Yahweh. Blessed are you, Yahweh. King of heaven and earth. King of heaven and earth. And all things living. And all things living. Yahweh. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. In the name of Yahweh Shai. We ask that you listen to us now. Right now. Right now. Send evil. Send evil. And curses. And punishment. And destruction. To all the heathen. That speak against us. Thy prophets, the teachers, our princes, our priests, and all the Israelite brothers. And the school. Lord, Yahweh, send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to all the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refuse to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into thy sanctuary. Yahweh, send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to all the Edomites and all the nations and their drug dealers and their court system and their damn prison system to that damn Planned Parenthood. All the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogue, and their army, that Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, the militia group, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, the skinheads, the Posse Comitatus, all the white nationalist groups, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, all of their spies, all their weapons of witchcraft, all of their NASA space program, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and that goddamn Space Force. Wall Street, oh Yahweh, open up the internet, and the airwaves, and the cable access channel, and the radio channel. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting thy word throughout this planet Earth. Let loose all the plague. 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 Cause them to go to and fro throughout the earth and consume them. Amen. And consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and all of the murderers. Let Yahweh Shai, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucer. Come down with your chariot and punish all the heathen that come up against us in the Isupk as we speak thy word. Cause Cause it to be known by all that witness it, that it is the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread throughout the media and the whole world. Cause them to shake it back up. In the name of Yahweh Shai. We beg this of you, O Yahweh. Thank you always. So be it. That must be that class of 2022. That's that class of the great 2023.
Our one for one.
Barak.
How much you know, sir?
Give a big shout out to General Muhammad. You know.
Damn right.
Give a shout out to General Muhammad.
Damn right.
Give a shout out to General Hansa Young. Give a shout out to General Shaw. Give a shout out to General Presenta. Give a shout out to the Q Wilson, to Alama. Y'all know what's all the high holidays, I bring all these brothers up, right? And I know that they're generals and they hold certain rank to y'all. I'm gonna be brief. But I wanna tell you, like I say every year, why I bring them up. I bring them up more for you than I do for me. Because I've been in this truth a long time, y'all know. I'm a relic. Some of your parents know me hell. I've been in the truth a long time, and I've seen so much amazing and wonderful and miracles, and so much of how Satan loves to destroy this truth. And I bring these generals up so that you can learn a lesson about loyalty, a lesson about brotherhood. When Satan came to destroy this school, I learned a lot of great lessons. I was sitting in New York City in a deli that myself and General Muhammad had opened up in New York while the entire nation was crumbling down with Satan. You probably won't want me to tell y'all this story. I must tell y'all it anyway, because you got a lesson to learn in this. He mentioned my sister Ahawa earlier about the unleavened bread. The reason that Ahawa had that recipe for the unleavened bread, because we were the only three standing in the truth at that point in New York City. After wearing my whole life for this truth, I was standing there with one young officer and one sister on the Passover. General Muhammad learned
by fire how to make lamb.
That's right.
How learned by fire how to make unleavened bread. The three of us sat at that counter in that deli and had the Passover. It was as though the truth of the Most High, the greatest gift we had ever received, we squandered it. And I took the full blame. I took every blow, every charge. It was all my fault. And I said it before the angel. It's a true story. Got me jacked up. Well, how y'all say? Y'all got me. Oh, man. And I went to the Most High, and I took the whole charge. No matter what anybody did, I took the charge. And I only answered that charge if somebody tried to destroy what we went to build after that. We got back down on the streets of Philadelphia. Where's Tazaliah at? We came back to Philadelphia. And this sister Tazaliah right here. When I tell you I put a cap in somebody over her, I mean it. I put you to death over Muhammad's wife, Tazaliah.
That's right.
Not y'all, but you get my point. Because Tazaliah had a little one-bedroom apartment with her and her son Yahya. And she had a couch. And she said, go ahead and stay on my couch. And General Muhammad said, that's fine. And I had nothing, he had nothing, and Tazaliah fed us, and clothed us, took care of us. She never asked for nothing in return. I mean, that is the God's honest truth. For every single day that I have ever known this sister, it has been nothing but a joy to know this wonderful sister, the wife of General Muhammad. And the reason it was so important to me at the time was because when you're down and have no hope, or damn near no hope, the only thing you got is the brothers with enough courage to stand with you, man. And the sisters with enough courage to stand with you. If ever somebody put out the old tapes to me, I used to war on them streets, cutting with scriptures, tearing cats up. Nowadays, I can't hardly put a scripture if it ain't about brotherhood. It's like I'm so stuck on it because I finally, the hard way, learned the value of something. We came down in the streets of Philly. It was just the two of us. Under the rules, you can't open a camp with just two. Well, Muhammad went on into martial arts training, started going into all these old dojos. I tried to tell them they don't know shit. He needed to do something, so I go on get down. And then one day he said, man, we should call Micah Allah. He was a young officer in the truth as well. And I said, let's call him. And that's when he went and called Micah Allah. And both of us sat there and we watched Micah Allah and we was waiting for one question. And we talked with him. Well, first Muhammad talked with him and I talked with him. And then he finally hit the question. He said, is what they said about you true? Micah Allah is one of the only brothers out of thousands of brothers that ever came to me and asked me straight up, just like the scripture said, did you do it? Did you do it? Makala, I answered him and I said, hell no, I didn't do it. Those are lies that they set up to destroy this school.
That's right.
And General Makala been with me ever since. I'm not going to go on because I know y'all been here a while already. But I want you to know that the rest of these generals, General Hazayan, Shalmar, Mubarak, Kathum Gabar, these brothers have stood with me through thick and thin, through lie, through truth, through hardship, through tragedy, through my own faults and mistakes. Without that level of the dedication and brotherhood, you cannot build anything in this hell. Choose you out brothers and sisters that will stand with you in this work. And there's a whole lot more. There's these brothers, and you got captains coming up now that are completely committed to this work. 10, 20 years in the game. Sisters in here. Oh man, Dr. Shawashana, another sister in here. Other great sisters coming in here. The host of them is so amazing. Oh my God, how could I forget the sister that got us the first school in Philly? Used her credit card to get us, I don't know, you know, these are some bad brothers. And got some bad sisters with them. And Sister Kadasha Ra here. Where's she at? Y'all don't even know her, do you? Where's she at? See that little sister right there? That little sister right there put us on the map with our own credit card, man. And got us on our feet to build this truth, man. Good job. Let me just, if I could, that's my ox right. And that's why a strong, loyal brother raises a wonderful, wonderful sister that helps the work of the Most High. Now, if I catch you on the wrong side, I'm going to give you two. Over her two. Can I just mention the doctor right quick? Dr. Shawashana, is she in here? Where's she at? Dr. Shawashana is another sister that helped us so much in this work. Dr. Shawashana put them right. Also getting behind his brother. Dr. Shawashana set us up with our nonprofit organization. That's how we got our 501c3 and started moving with all these other programs because of her hard work. And she also, while going to school, while working in slavery, while raising two children who are teenagers now, she still put us up, fed us. While we were in hell, I was getting the cops calling on me because I was in there drunk in the projects acting like a fool. I'm just telling you straight up. I was tore up in pieces, but I was about this war. And we come home after camp, drinking. Somebody called the damn cops that I had. I get him all the way. I'm checking the police, telling him about his uniform. Somebody looking at me like I'm gonna kill this thing. And Dr. Shawashana was back, and so many, many, many more. I'm not even mentioning a tenth of them. Brothers, we need that loyalty. Be committed to your team, and be committed to this team, and do your will. And when things go bad, stand with them. Last statement. If your hotel wasn't right, so goddamn what? If you didn't get no land, so what? If the bathroom smelled, so what? If somebody messed up your garment, so what? Airlines lost your suitcase, so what? We got to be grown now, man. And grown people handle their business. We ain't the white man's babies no more, man. We gonna ride our own nation with our own God in the spirit. spirit of Yahweh show me how to where we at now?
Men of Israel, imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak.
Kum Yashalah.
Kum Yashalah.
Kum Yashalah. Who's the power?
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak.
Who's the power?
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak.
Who do we fear?
The Father we fear.
Who do we fear?
The Father we fear.
Who is your king?
Yahushua.
Who is your king?
Yahushua.
Who is your king?
Yahushua.
What's your name?
Israel. Israel. Israel.
Y'all can retire. Dismissed.
Whenever you're ready.
Couple quick things. And so I get out there and I'm going, please remain seated, remain seated. You will be called up for you'll be called up to get food. Do not go to the back for food. Please remain seated, all right? Thank the Lord. Hey, can I get another sister up here?